suspicious. Didn't find any reinforced trauma. She's a local college student. There's a little blood around the nostrils.
What have we got?
The Vic is Lisa Owens, 19-year-old sophomore at Oral Roberts University. Her driver's license says she's from Texas.
Did she live in the building?
No, she lived on campus. Her roommate reported her missing 2 days ago.
Who found the body?
The building's maintenance worker. He came up to do some routine work on the air conditioning unit. He called the manager, and the manager called 911.
At them?
I've already informed them that they'll need to provide DNA samples, their fingerprints, and an alibi for last night.
Good. Do we know how long she's been dead?
ME says less than 24 hours. He'll have to do an autopsy to find an exact time of death.
Did it determine the cause of death?
He hasn't done his full examination yet, but he said at first glance there don't appear to be any signs of blunt force trauma or other significant injuries to the body. His best guess? Poison. But he won't know for sure until he gets the tox screen back. He did find ligature marks on her wrists and ankles, which tells us the killer kept her tied up.
And the bloody nose?
He thinks it's linked to the possible poisoning.
Ooh.
Cute. Oh, yeah.
I want to
Jones!
go now.
Get over here. Here.
What can I do for you, Pope?
Why haven't you examined the body yet?
Been waiting for CSI guys to give me the go-ahead while they finish up with all their pictures and shit.
Pope, I don't think
Are you going to make yourself useful, or am I going to have to do your job for you?
Thanks, sweetheart. All right. I've already done a prelim examination, and there's nothing on her front that's noteworthy except for the blood around her nostrils and these ligature marks on her wrists. Now, I'd like to turn her over to see if there's something I might have missed. Maybe she took a blow to the back of the head. That would explain the bloody nose. Boy, are you just gonna sit there, or am I gonna have to do this all myself? Ready? As far as I can tell, the skull's intact, and I'm not finding any signs of damage to the scalp. Whoa. Pope, man, you gotta feel this.
Her head's normally this light?
Nope. That's hollow.
What do you mean it's hollow?
I mean it's hollow, as in the killer removed her brain.
They removed her entire brain?
Appears that way.
You just said her skull is intact.
It is.
Then how is that possible?
I mean, there's one way, but never in my wildest. Yep. Just as I suspected.
What?
Excerebration.
Are you sure about that? You haven't even done a full autopsy yet.
Unless there's some incision in her hairline that I missed, which I doubt, it's the only way the killer could have removed the brain while keeping the skull intact.
How would a person even go about performing an excerebration nowadays?
I imagine it's not that much different than how the Egyptians used to do it. They teach classes on Egyptian civilization down at the local community college. Anybody can take them.
I highly doubt how to excerebrate your local college teen is part of the Intro to Egyptology course.
Enough! Will one of you please tell me what excalibration is?
Excerebration.
Please tell me what excerebration is. Please.
Excerebration was the ancient Egyptian process of removing a person's brain before they were embalmed. The Egyptians would use a tool that would allow them to basically liquefy a person's brain and then remove it through their nostrils.
The Vic had her brain removed through her nose, like they used to do to the mummies.
Of course, in those days it was done along with the removal of the rest of the organs that were considered disposable, but there aren't any markings on the victim's body to indicate the killer attempted to remove any other organs.
And she hasn't been embalmed.
If this were truly about the excerebration process, I would have expected to see more attention to detail.
What do you mean?
Well, embalming was a mostly religious practice, and the ancient Egyptians believed that the left side of the body held special significance, since that's where the heart lies. So almost all of the embalming procedures were done on the left side of the body, including the removal of the brain.
So you're saying if the killer really knew what they were doing, they would have removed the brain through her left nostril instead of both?
Exactly. So it begs the question, is it about ancient Egyptian religion and perfecting the excerebration process for this killer? Or is it about simply removing the brain in the easiest way possible?
Easiest?
Okay, not easiest, but maybe least gruesome? Yeah, that's what excerebration means.
And how do you two know about all this?
I minored in ancient civilizations and religions in college.
Oh, I watch a lot of TV.
How would someone go about learning how to do this brain removal thing?
I'm not sure. Lots of ancient texts go into detail about the embalming process, though I'm not sure how many of them have an in-depth explanation of how exactly each step is done. I'll have to get into contact with some of my old professors and see if they have any ideas. But if I'm being completely honest, the only way to truly figure it out would be to try. But it would be extremely messy, and you'd likely end up disfiguring the person's face the first few times. It's a delicate procedure.
Well, I can't speak to the proper procedure, but I can tell you this much. The facial bones of that young lady are completely intact, septum included. And speaking of messy, there's no blood on the Vic's body, that little bit around her nostrils.
The killer probably cleaned the body after, and he clearly did the procedure at a secondary location. Probably the same place he held her for 2 days without anyone hearing or seeing anything suspicious. And he managed to get her up here without anyone seeing anything. This is all too clean for someone covering up their first murder.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
This probably isn't the first body.
Or the last.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got ourselves a serial killer.
Hey, did you three move the body?